there'd be people that were dealing with some bad things in life. They were always in such a good mood. What I didn't realize is speaking things into existence is a real thing. Giving something energy is a real thing. Welcome back. Private Memoirs of a Desperate Man. PMDM is back. Thank you very much. Hope you've had a great weekend. Hope all is well. Before we get into it, if you enjoy this podcast, make sure to check out the JMC newsletter. It's where I share my thoughts like this, personal updates, and more. The link is in the show notes. Also, if you haven't already, check out Bro Church, the podcast I do with my brother-in-law, the Dave. It's raw, it's real, it's for the fellas. Ladies, you can enjoy it too. Just a bunch of dads getting together, shooting the shit. That link is in the show notes as well. All right, let's get right into it. Because if you've ever felt stuck in a cycle where nothing goes right, I want to share how I finally broke free. All right, let's get right into it. If you've ever felt like you've been stuck in a cycle, if you've ever felt like the dark cloud is looming over you no matter where, no matter how, no matter what you do, Murphy's Law wins, right? Then this episode is for you. Living under a cloud, the proverbial dark cloud, is a real thing if you've ever been in the funk, if you've ever been depressed, stagnant in growth and frustrated and sad, if you've ever been embarrassed of where you are in your life and you feel like you can't move back or forward or sideways, you're just stuck. And every day just seems like a domino effect. Every single day just seems like a little more of the same BS, the same dark cloud. And the next thing you know, you become that person that's always just got something negative to say. There's always something wrong. And the more that you're experiencing this, the more you start vocalizing it, obviously, because it's on the brain. It's heavy on the brain. What I didn't realize is speaking things into existence is a real thing. Giving something energy is a real thing. I used to trip myself out because there'd be people that were dealing with some bad things in life and they were always in such a good mood. You know, whether it was friends or coworkers or family members, you knew they were going through X, Y, and Z, yet their spirits were high. Sometimes I felt like it was just fake, but the older I get, the more I realize it's a state of mind you have to be in. There's only so much you can control. The bad will happen. How do you persevere through it? How do you navigate your home life, your work life, your personal life, your mental, your physical, your spiritual? All of these are in tandem. And when one goes, the other will go. That's what I learned. And let me tell you something. I was always the negative mindset, just another day. Gotta go do this crap. Gotta go do this crap over here. Gotta deal with this BS. This cat over here is, negative. And look, I still have my days. But the difference is the mindset. If you're not aware of it, you can get lost in the quicksand of it. And it's very, very, very hard to get out of. The breakout point for me, when I realized something had to change, was when I went through a divorce. I went through my divorce. It was unexpected. And I hit a ground zero, a rock bottom. And just to keep things in line with the theme of the podcast, it was a reset for me. And it was an opportunity for me to rediscover who I was and what my purpose was. And in that experience, I got my own place, technically I stayed with a friend for 5 months and then got my own place. But I was able to find my space, not just a physical space, but my space mentally. I loved myself again, and I gave myself grace. And I think that's the key here that we're talking about is when you're forced to rebuild, not just as a person, not just as not just as a parent, not just as a brother, not just as a spouse. You're forced to rebuild as a person. And for me, it was a humbling moment because that's when I really just gave it all to God in my own way. I'm not a Bible thumper type of person, even though, yes, I believe in God. Yes, I believe that Jesus Christ is my savior. You're not really going to hear me preach too much. I don't like to operate that way, but I'm not going to deny it. And in my mid 30s is when I kind of resurfaced into who I am now. I'm happily married now. My wife, Alexandra, and I have 2 beautiful daughters. I'm a father of 4. We'll be married for 10 years next year. But at one point I was, living in my best friend's basement, had 2 young children. I had no home. I had a bunch of belongings in a plastic bag, in a duffel bag, and in a box. And now I'm a blessed man. But the mindset is really what I'm trying to focus on here. The mindset of woe is me versus, all right, to hell with it. Let's go. I'm getting kicked, but I'm ready. And I prayed to God. I had a vision of where I wanted to go. When I met my wife, we weren't ready to date and we broke up. Actually, she broke up with me, but nonetheless. And I never stopped thinking about her. My heart was with her, and I knew that one day, God willing, if I had another opportunity, I was going to marry that woman, and I did. Those things came to fruition through prayer for me, through focusing on what I wanted and not focusing on the bad stuff, because there was bad stuff. There was bad stuff. I was lonely. I was depressed. I was abstinent for 1.5 years. Not that that's bad, but let me tell you something. You got to buckle down and focus. Shit. It ain't easy when you're trying to stay focused as a single man. I was getting sued by a previous landlord. I had to file for bankruptcy. That's another chapter for another day, for another story. But let me tell you something. When someone's telling you to keep a healthy mindset, please believe they're going through it just as much as anybody else. It's just a matter of how do we maintain a positive mindset? Because this is all you have. This is all you have. This is it right here. This is it. And if you're willing to give it up and willing to say, no, then you know what? Then you're not loving yourself enough. You're not loving yourself enough. Learning to have faith in yourself rather than relying on outside forces is one of the things that I could suggest is imperative for you to get over that cloudy day, that woe is me, that negative mindset. And finally, let's talk about the rebuilding and finding peace, the last step here. The steps you take to shift your mindset, self-reflection, changing habits, new perspective, they're all imperative. Surround yourself with like-minded people, read different things, watch different types of movies, go listen to different types of music that put you in a place of reflection, that put you at a place of peace. You think what's the word I'm thinking of here? You think it's a coincidence that the older people get, the more in tune with life they become, the more you see a lot more people getting in touch with their faith and believing God or reading a lot more books, self-help books. Everyone's just trying to find something because they understand the importance of it more. This goes back to an earlier episode when I talked about that window getting smaller and closing. It's real. The difference between how you handle stress now versus before. Bad days still happen, but they don't consume you. Okay? And I shared that now. My wife is a big inspiration in that regard because Not only does she hold me accountable and we have our days when we may disagree, but we always come right back to build more. Okay? The mindset of your partner is imperative. I had a mindset that was bad. The mindset of my previous partner wasn't that great either. Problem. That's a problem. And that's not shifting blame. That's just suggesting that when you have two mindsets that are in a bad place, you're not going to have good results. You're not. So if you keep moving forward and you stay focused, things will eventually work out. That's the truth. It's a cliche thing to say, but it's the truth. Remember, staying calm in the middle of the storm and not letting chaos control you. Can I just say real quick, when things start hitting the fan, when the world is in a chaotic state around you and you can remain poised, that's when your thoughts are the most clear. Nothing's rattling you. You are able to pinpoint exactly what needs to be done, how it needs to be done. Now, I believe those are instructions from God when you're able to just stay poised and everything seems to make sense mentally. That's because instructions are being given to you. You are in the right frequency to receive them. It's imperative that we stay focused and calm when adversity hits. Because the people around you that look up to you and they see that, now they stay calm. Now they stay calm. The black cloud didn't just disappear one day. When I stopped letting it define me, when I started believing in me, it slowly faded away. I had a moment where I was so depressed because I was behind in bills. Rent was due. My children were little. And I would cover my windows with blinds. I would close all the windows. I would cover the window on the door because I was afraid the landlord was going to come and I didn't want anybody to see inside the house. I blocked off all the windows. When my wife met me, she slowly broke me out of that because she's a child of the light, as she says, you know. I like it dark. She has all the windows open. Sometimes it's a little hard to handle, but I'm a child of the light now as well. So if you're in a dark place right now, what's the one thing that you could take from this? Well, hopefully you'll understand that I am sympathetic to most of it. And for those that are going through something I have yet to experience, I am empathetic. But nonetheless, I am here with you. I'm here with you. The truth is you're not alone. And the truth is you've got something inside you. And I'm going to talk about this later on in the podcast. There's a lot more I want to get into about a key. We've been given keys when we were born. Okay. We're special people and you're a special person. When you find the right group of people, your family, your group, your vibe or your tribe, you're going to thrive. But you got to love yourself. You got to look in the mirror and love that person that's looking back at you. I hope this episode of PMDM was helpful. Please do not let that dark cloud follow you for the rest of the day. At this point right now, it needs to stay behind you. Wherever you're going, go there with the new state of mind, with the new state of purpose. You've got this. You got this. Until then, I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Enjoy your day. Much love and respect. Y'all be safe. Peace.